I'm CK. Today we've got another one from ZLOSynth Instruments. It's their Kaseta. It is, at its basic, a 4-line delay unit. It also has tape, magnetic tape saturation techniques. It can do both delay and sculpting. It looks like overall a very interesting sonic kit, and I'm looking forward to putting this one together and hearing how it goes. I love a good delay, and I hope you enjoy the video. The bag, ZLOSynth out of Brno in the Czech Republic. I've built one, maybe two others of these. I think it's mostly surface mount pre-installed, but I also believe there's a lot of controls that we can use. It's also kind of big. Picked it up from thonk.co.uk, as I do most of my modules. Link in the description. Thanks for buying. Before you build it, read the build manual. And so on and so forth. Firmware version 1.3.2. Let's grab this out first, which should be the front panel. We'll take a look at it first to give us an idea what the heck is going on with my visor. Dropping down on my nose and I couldn't see a darn thing. Okay. We've got, looks like a bunch of LEDs there. Preamp, drive, bias, dry, wet. I'm assuming those are pots, but I'm not sure. While in Flutter, they could be CVN also. Speed, tone, a matrix of probably buttons. It might not be buttons, it might be output jacks, but they're not actually labeled. Well, I guess they are. Volume, feedback, and pan. So for each of the 4 sliders, the 4 delay lines. Then we've got control 2, 3, 4, don't know what that is. Left output, right output, input, and impulse. I guess that, I don't know whether that's impulse output or whether that it's got a circle around it indicating it's an output. It's not an impulse profile for a reverb. Don't know. That's probably 2 LEDs also, and that's probably an LED. And there's a speed CVN, I believe that's what it is. We will know better when we take a look at the actual circuit board. Serial 275. Okay, so we do have read the manual, use care not to damage the surface mount parts, populate all 6 connectors on this side of the PCB. We will do that. And we got a cute little icon of a cassette for a tape delay kind of thing. Serial number 275, power in, some surface mount resistors. There's a TI-46, TI-46 something, TI-46. I'll look these chips up in the interval to see what they do. And then there's a jumper here. Don't know what we will be jumping for, maybe for joy. And then on the front we've got, okay, so these are all pots. So hold on a second, let me grab this back in. Volume, feedback, and pan are all going to be pots. We've got blue pots with center detents, and the rest are just plain old ordinary blue pots. Sliders, green pot, green pot, green pot, green pot, green pot with the center detent for the wow and flutter control. Then these are the controls. And there are jacks coming in, and then there's a jack output, and that is a button, and that's an LED. I don't know what that button would be for. We'll find out. And as I thought, a bunch of LEDs, and while it's marked as where the anode, the positive side goes, it also says short legs go near this line. So the cathodes will go against this line, alternating. The top ones will have the short leg down, the bottom ones will have the short leg up. Align sliders carefully, I said that already. Okay, that looks interesting. Here we've got a daisy patch submodule, which I don't know if I can get it out. This is doing most of the brain work in this. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of stuff on it. An ARM chip, interesting. That's a lot of power for this. I mean, a lot of processing power. And an ISSI. I have never used an ISSI integrated circuit before. I will be looking that up too. Put that back in there so we don't mess it up. Here we've got all our blue pots, and again there are 4 of them with centered detents, which will be for our pan left and right. Let me see if I can find one, or how long it takes me to find one. Again, you statisticians could tell me how long it would take out of a random bag, or a bag of 8 of them, or 6, whatever, 4 times 3, 12 of them, what the probability of finding one is. Well, the first 4 didn't find one. Not finding the center detent. Come on, this is no fun. Okay, there's a center detent one. It took 8 tries out of 12. So that's your statistical fun for today. And in this bag we've got probably some nuts and stuff. Maybe even the jacks, I don't know. No, that's the knobs. Knobs. And they're fine knobs. They're just press on, but at least they have half circles. Which is going to be interesting, so that must go on the green pots. Yeah, because these don't require caps. And then little tips for the sliders. And these are fine caps, fine knobs. Not my favorite, because you know my favorite is brass inserts with set screws. And in here are all jacks, and I'm going to move the, I'm sorting myself out here. I'm going to move the knobs back into this bag, and then we will dump out this bag, which has the jacks, but it also has LEDs, and it looks like they're all red LEDs. Let's get my LED buddy out and see how brilliant they are. Oh yeah, they're very bright. Very bright little guys. That's nice. Then we've got our pin headers and some spacers. And that's all good. And in here we have our green pots, which are 10K, it looks like. They're all 10K, and one of them is also center detent. Now I've got 5. How many do I have to go through, randomly selected, to find the center detent? Well, that's 1. I know you statisticians and probability experts are saying, dude, you didn't let me calculate it quickly enough. Yep, second one. Second out of 5. The other was 7 out of 12. Here are sliders, 10K sliders. They slide very well. And I'm not going to take all those out right yet. So that's the bits and pieces that come in this product. I will get the soldering iron heated up, and we'll start putting this thing together. Brought up the build guide, and as you can anticipate, there's not too much unusual in it, so we will just approach it as we would. So this is where the power connector goes. Now it's not keyed, so we'll just have to pay attention to the markings on the board when we plug our power connector in. And first thing we'll do is we'll just do one pin. That's not quite 100% flat, so I'll push on it with my finger, reheat that one, and that's all good. And again, it's on the side that has the surface mount components, because the front side has the controls and the panel, so you don't want it on that side, because this is where the power cord's coming in. And we'll do the jumper. The jumper, which is over here at 12C, right there. This one I'm going to, since it's a single row, it may not go completely perpendicular, and I will have to definitely have to check the alignment on that. And yeah, it's a little sideways, so same thing. Heat that up there. Flattened out. Now we can do the other two pins. So now he doesn't specifically call out putting the supports for the submodule. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put the box headers on the board, just making sure I've got the right ones in the right holes. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to just lightly, I'm not going to push it on, I'm just going to set them in up. Just going to set them in a little bit so that they're aligned for later when I come back and mount them permanently. Now I want to support this side of the board while I'm doing that, so take some foam. I always keep the foam that semiconductors come in so I can use it to provide a nice supporting surface. And once again, I'm going to do one pin on each, even though this is less important on this one, because since we have the daughter board lined up, I'm not too worried about having it not fit later. But I will double check it in just a moment. Make sure they're all flat to the board. And they are, so I will put my foam away and then solder the rest of these connector pins. Now they're all soldered, but I'm going to take the daughter board off just so while I'm working on other stuff, because again we've got a jack, some jacks to put in there. So we will put that back in its little bag. Now it certainly, now we're going to put a standoff on board, and there's only one. There's the standoff, and he says it comes with a little Phillips screw, and here's the little Phillips screw. So we put that through there, because there's nothing to support this side, because they're just pots going through there. So we need to have, where on the other side there are jacks which will provide the stability. So we did that. Now, okay, so we're going to put all the stuff in. Okay, so So that's pretty straightforward. I'm going to do it in a particular order. We will see what I do. So, and again, these are all labeled blue and green. So one of the green ones has a center detent, as we saw earlier. So we will make sure we put that in the right position. Same with the blue ones, the center detents go on the side for while flutter centering. So I'm going to put all these pots and knobs and so on, or pots and LEDs and so on, because I think I've talked about, well, I'll mention one more thing before I go to speeding up. Come on, guys. Sometimes I have to convince these support legs to go through their holes with a little encouragement from my needle nose pliers to straighten them out just a hair. Now, before I put all the rest of the stuff on, I've already talked about the LEDs having their polarity clearly marked on the board. Now, for the sliders, there's one support pin, or one contact pin on one end, two on the other end, so it's really easy to match them up. So that's what I'll be doing. I'm going to speed up the playback because it's not all that interesting to watch me put all these pots in their holes. I may even cut some of it out and come back when it's time to solder things up or go to the next significant step. So I've set all the components in place. I haven't soldered anything yet. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this up off my solder pad a little bit so I can drop all those in. I've double checked that my detent pots are in the places they should be. Oh, the detent's down here, I'm sorry. Now we're going to gently lower. Now, you know, one thing I am looking at here, it's going to be hard to manipulate those pots because they're so close together. Not much room to get your finger in when you're on the go, so I'm pushing them all down as flat as I can because we're going to be getting things in size order. So all this matrix of knobs will go in first. Well, of course, maybe not. I'm going to rotate around so I can see better, and I will get a little tool. Sorry, I'm getting things aligned right. And I don't want to get my head in the shot if I can help it. But I probably will need to. Let me get my head in here. Why is it hung up over? Oh, I see what's going on. I'm not doing anything with the LEDs right now. I'm just making sure all this is in. Now, conveniently, we've got the other end of that standoff up here that I can drop the screw into. And that will keep everything together so it's not slopping all around. I'm going to make sure all these slide. Now they're a little loose, so we're going to do a particular thing. Actually, I don't think I need to do a thing. I think they will be supported when I flip this over. Good. Everything else is flat. So what I'm going to do, I'm sorry, he would like us to solder things after we've attached everything. Which is okay, I don't mind that. Everybody's got their own way to do things. And if you're following along with the build guide and me, I may as well go the way the build guide says. So you're not disoriented. So we're going to put the washers and the panel nuts on. I am not going to put these on super tight right now. I'm going to put them on a little bit more than finger tight, but not too tight, because I want to have a little chance for reflection. And that should be my 10 millimeter, right? Yep. Just snugging them down. I'll put them on tight for final once I've gotten everything all soldered. Why are you not screwing down there, buddy? By the way, this is a 10 millimeter socket that works for most potentiometer knobs you will find on eurorack components. And again, I still haven't done anything with the LEDs, and I don't plan to for quite a while, because since they're on extended wires, they have the most flexibility of anything. I forgot to put the little washer on this set screw for the spacer, but I'm not going to go back and take it out and put the washer on, because the washers are not really necessary. We are not trying to dissipate a whole bunch of force. And I also have one fewer washer than I thought. Where did the extra washer go? As you may be able to sense, I'm not actually going to worry about it. If it's not here, it's not here, and I don't care. Now I'll put these panel nuts on. Same thing. I will be just snugging them down. And for this, I have a little tool I got from Thonk. I forget who makes it, but it's perfect for these little split ring kind of, knurled nuts with the little two-prong split in them. So that's everything in place. Before I do any soldering, I'm going to double check that everything moves and doesn't bind. Nothing binds. Now I'm going to flip it over, and as I said, the thing I care most about right now is the sliders. So I'm going to put a piece of foam on the slider knobs, so when I flip it over, they're pressed firmly. It's not actually as firm as I would like. Okay, I'm going to do this a different way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my finger. I'm going to move the slider position to the center, and I'm going to put my finger on it. Grab my solder and do one support leg. On each end. There. That one's in place, not going to be sliding around. And we'll do that for all of them. Now, since I was being a little rough with stuff there while I was making sure those fully seated, I'm going to go ahead and make sure these are all pressed in correctly. And they are, and now I'm going to do a whole bunch of soldering of all these components, and I will turn the cameras off while I do that, because I'm just doing a bunch of soldering. Now, one thing I was thinking about, this has a cassette, because they're saying they're doing some tape manipulation simulation. Well, that would be reel-to-reel, not a cassette. You can't do flanging with a cassette tape. you can do flanging with a reel-to-reel tape. So I just suggest they update their graphic when they spin the board. But that's only because I'm pedantic. So again, turn the cameras off while I solder all these bits, and then we'll do the LEDs. All the bits are soldered on except the LEDs, and now we're going to do those. So we have a choice. We can have the LED protruding, or we can have it flush. I think sometimes I protrude them, sometimes I make them flush. I'm going to make these flush just because this button is, I don't want the LED higher than that button. So what we're going to do that is I'm pushing the LEDs back in their little world, and I'm going to grab some 7-day tape, painter's tape, masking tape, whatever your regionalism calls it, and put it over the hole for all of them. And now I'm going to take the LEDs and move them all into their respective holes. And the tape is stopping them from going further than I want, so they will be flush with the front panel. Now I'm going to solder all these leads. And they are all soldered. Now I'm going to do my last final double checking to make sure I have soldered every connection, because there are a bunch of connections here. It all looks good. Take the tape off, and as you can see, the LEDs are all flush with the panel. Looking very, very professional. I am going to make one more pass to tighten everything down. Now we will get our knobs. And again, since they've got half circles on them, I don't have to worry about getting the index position wrong. They'll self-index. The other thing you'll notice is when I'm pushing these panel nuts on, I'm not pushing against the circuit board, I'm pushing against the front panel, the aluminum, not the fiber of the circuit board, because you could flex it, you could damage something. It's being ultra paranoid, but it has served me well. Oh, what else was I going to say? I'm sorry. Oh, that'll come to me, or it won't. Then we put the little black slider caps on. Yeah, these feedback knobs are a little close in the middle of all this stuff, but I guess I'll live with it. I don't know what that switch actually does. We'll look it up. Okay, all that. Again, I was going to say something, but I can't remember what I was going to say. So, forget it. Now we will put the daughter board on. And since we pinned it in place, pinned the connectors in place before we soldered, or while we soldered, it should go back into place very easily, if I get it aligned right. So that's seated correctly, and because of the way the connectors are angled, you would be hard-pressed to get it wrong. Now, red stripe goes here, and I think we're ready to go. I'm sorry, it's like I'm forgetting something, but I don't think I am. There's the front, there's the side, the back, the other side, the top, and the bottom. Now we'll put it in the rack and see how it reverbs and wows and delays and does all kinds of things. See ya in a little bit. In the rack, let's fire it up. Going through its little start sequence here. So what have I done? I've set it up for, I'm taking the two left and right outputs and I've got them going into a mixer I have over here that's kind of off camera. We're looking at 118 millivolts, which is kind of high. Now, one thing I did learn about this button does a couple of things. It does interesting things. It's a good little button. So besides tempo tap in and access to secondary attributes, so if I hit this button and then move, let's see, then move tone, there's filter sets that I'm going through. I don't really know what that means, but that's what it does. Again, I'm not quite sure what that one means. The wow and flutter changes placement of the wow and flutter if you hit the button. Unlimited hysteresis through drive, an internal oscillator enabled through preamp. So I'm not using the internal oscillator right now. I've got a sequence coming in. Now you can hear that even at this pretty basic setting, I've got a little grit going on, and that's kind of the whole point. It's tape saturation and so on. I keep turning preamp down a little bit because it's preamping is driving a little more than I like, but that's just me. You may love it. So let's see what we're going to look at. We're going to do some examples. So this is the completely clean set. Let me turn volume up again, preamp up again. I had some wow and flutter in, I don't want that. So that's obviously not completely clean. Because you can hear a little delay in there. Oh, that's because I've got to have speed all the way down. I'm sorry, I wasn't reading the symbols right. Now we're going to do, I'm not going to do the saturation because you can figure that out. We'll do a ping pong delay. Take speed up to about here. This over here, this about here, this about here, drive all the way down, bias all the way up, wet dry down, wow and flutter there. Again, there's a lot of button turning on this guy. And again, these buttons are a little bit hard to deal with because they're so close together. So you can hear the two delay lines, I believe. I'm going to take all those down. Now we've got no delay lines going. Now I'll do the bottom one. And this one halfway. That sounds kind of nice. I'm taking pan to the middle because it doesn't much matter. Because I'm summoned to zero, to center. Let me speed this up a little bit, see how fast it can go. So that got pretty muddy pretty fast. I'm going to pause this for a minute. And let it dry all the way out. Okay, now we'll go back to pulsing. Give it a little more drive. Make it a little wetter. I'm going to increase the sequence speed a little bit. Take these feedbacks out. Take that one up. So again, you're mixing a lot of different delays together, different taps. Now, one other thing that I find very interesting is these controls, they're unassigned. You plug in there, and it says, I've got something plugged into one, move a control to tell me what I'm going to drive. And now it figured out that it's driving that knob. Oh, I'm sorry, I should have it in the sine wave. You can hear it. I can't tell, I can't see if you can hear that little flutter it's getting when that triggers off. So to unassign it, you pull the cable back out. So I'm going to put this back in here, and it says I'm on 1. What do you want to be? Okay, I'm going to be speed. Now I'll change it. You can hear it in the background. Hear that little flutter as it ramps up. Now I've taken that one up again. I'm going to go full wet here. And you can still hear that. Now I'm going to take this over to this one. Now it's varying the speed, the depth of the last one. Drive it all the way up. Take that back out. Now, one thing I don't know, so that's what you can do with it. It's pretty interesting. I'm going to try and go to the internal oscillator, and I'm not quite sure. So again, consider these 4 different tape heads. That's, I'm sorry, I haven't said that. Let me see. Position, filter set through tone, drive, preamp. I'm getting there. Internal oscillator, where is it? Okay, so internal oscillator enabled through preamp, and I don't know. Okay, that might be doing something. I'm going to take this one out. What I really don't know is how to unassign. And again, you can pick up which heads you're using and the volume assigned to them. So I've got this all mudded up, and I don't like that. I don't know why I've got it all mudded up. So that's on or off. Okay, I get that. Okay, so the internal oscillator is off now. Let me try that for the other one. So position the filter set through tone. If I hold that, it puts the filter set in different positions. I'm gonna let me clear. There we go. We should be out of that now. Okay, this got all muddy. I don't know how to unmodify it. I don't know how to reset everything. Take everything back down where it goes. And again, these knobs are not my favorite. So we've got nothing going on there now. Now we'll take that one back. See, that's all. I'm going to turn this thing on and off because that got, again, I don't know how to back out of all the things I did. There we go, now we're back. I had to turn the power off, which is unfortunate. Now we're back to where I want to be. Let me go ahead and put this control back. I'm going to do this on the bottom. You can hear it as the ramp goes up on that LFO and then down. It adds that little flutter. Go faster on that one. pretty sensitive. Let me go to just trigger on that. No, it doesn't like that. So that's what it does. Obviously, it's a tape head simulator and saturation simulator, which works pretty well. It's just going to take me a lot more time to figure it out. The one thing I don't know is how to reset back to nothing. It does say here, calibration mapping and all secondary attributes are persisted between restarts of the module. To reset their values, hold the button while powering on the module. So let's do that. Fortunately, this power cable is one that's easy to get to. So I'm going to hold down the button and plug her back in. And I had to let it go for it to actually do anything. Now I'm not hearing anything. Oh, because I turned this down, you idiot. So that's how it works. Again, it was a good build, except for, of course, the somewhat of a pain getting that panel on top of all those controls and jacks and so on, but that just takes a little patience. Other than that, it does do tape saturation and tape delay. There's a lot to figure out. I barely scratched the surface on this, but you get a general idea. And I hope you enjoyed the video.